about to tell you comes from a time when humans did not yet trust their voices, when speech itself was dangerous, and communication was shaped by fear, instinct, and survival. I was there when early humans first learned that sound could either save a life or end it, and so their language was not born from words, but from caution. They did not speak freely as you do now. Instead, they communicated through controlled breath, low tones, gestures, and silence. I guided them to understand that a loud voice carried far in the wild, inviting predators and rivals, so they learned to speak with their bodies before their mouths. A clenched fist meant stop immediately. A slowed downward hand meant stay low, and a sharp arm movement meant run without looking back. Their eyes became their strongest language. A glance toward the trees warned of danger. Widened eyes meant fear, and a fixed stare meant prepare for attack. I taught them that silence itself was a message, because when the forest fell, quino birds, no insects, that silence was speaking louder than any scream. Their earliest vocal communication was made of simple sounds shaped by urgency rather than meaning. Short grunts to signal presence, clicking sounds to draw attention, breathy warnings to signal danger nearby. These sounds were not random. Over time, they gained shared meaning through repetition and memory. A certain tone meant predator, another meant food, another meant gather close. I guided elders to teach children through imitation, not explanation, because survival knowledge lived in movement and sound patterns, not in abstract words. Children learned by watching hand-shaped tools, by copying the rhythm of stone tapping, by mimicking warning calls during hunts. Around the fire, when danger was distant, communication softened to shared rhythm stones tapped together. Hands moved in patterns. Breath said, binding the group together without speech. These moments planted the first seeds of language, built not for storytelling, but for unity and coordination. I also taught them that the land itself was part of their communication system. Broken branches spoke of movement, disturbed soil spoke of presence, and unfamiliar tracks spoke of danger. Symbols painted on cave walls were not decoration. They were messages across time, warnings of dangerous animals, signs marking safe paths, memories of loss, and lessons carved into stone so they would not be forgotten. Some symbols were meant to confuse predators, others to remind humans where not to go. I allowed fear to shape their language, because fear made communication precise. There was no room for unnecessary sound, no space for lies. Every gesture mattered. Every sound carried weight. As seasons passed, these sounds and signals slowly grew more complex. Patterns formed. Meaning deepened. The first true language was emerging not as poetry or comfort, but as a survival system built on cooperation, restraint, and awareness. I guided them to understand when to speak and when to remain silent, because knowing when not to communicate was as important as knowing how. Speech was reserved for safety. Darkness demanded silence, and danger demanded clarity without noise. And even now, as you listen to my voice, remember this truth. Human language was not born from curiosity or art, but from fear, trust, and the need to protect one another in a world that listened carefully. I watched them learn this lesson slowly, painfully, and I guided them through it. Because in that ancient world, communication was not about expression, it was about survival. And survival was never guaranteed.